In this video, I'm going to give a bit of an overview of some of the more recent changes in Ultra, maybe in the last 4 months, and things that are happening and coming in September, as well as cover some of the things in Ultra that you just might not have seen before, not noticed. So they aren't necessarily new, but just want to make sure that you understand that they're there. So I'm going to start in the base navigation area, the landing page when you go to your Blackboard area. So you hit the activity stream first. You can navigate to your profile, and the students can do this as well. And an addition that has come in now is we can add our pronunciation, and so can our students. So they can edit the pronunciation, add a written pronunciation, and actually record their name. So this can be really useful to have students say their name so that we can get it right and start pronouncing them properly. They also have the option to edit their own pronouns, or if they don't want to have the pronouns in there, they just don't add them and nothing will appear. In this profile area, this is also our area that we can edit our notifications. So if I want my stream notifications to show institutional announcements but nothing else, I can note that. I can take off these extra notification prompts. Another really key one that we want to make sure the students know about is email notifications. So do they want to be emailed right away if you've sent them a new course message, for example? And this is something that I always like to have on. So if I get a course message from students, it comes to my email, I know that I can go in and check it right away. So I like to talk to my students about those notifications so that they can decide what they want to see in that activity stream and what they want to come to them in email. So I want to start by navigating to one of my upcoming courses and looking at the course settings. So I can alter my course settings in the top right-hand corner. And by default, the course is going to become available to students on September 3rd. I can edit that if I want this to become available, as I do the Friday prior to that, so the 30th of August. I can decide when I want that to become available, if I want them to be able to access the course a couple days before we start. So I've just navigated back to my practice course so I can show you how you can turn off or on course messages and what that will do in your course. So if I have course messages set in my course, it's available at the top in the top panel to my students and to myself. It can be beneficial for students to be able to get a hold of the person that's sitting beside them in class if they want to share notes, for example. So they can send a new message and then just find if they know that person's name. So I'm looking for Lightning, and they can send them a message without exchanging contact information outside, and just another way to get a hold of each other. So that can be useful for students. From an instructor perspective, there's lots of places that I can send course messages in the course. So I can go to the Gradebook. I can be looking at a specific student and how much they've completed or what they have or haven't done in the course. And I can quickly send them a reminder right from that area in the send message function. I could also look at a specific item and say, let's look at the intro quiz. And then I can see quickly who has attempted that quiz. And I can check off all the other students and quickly send them a message and say, just wanted to remind you that you haven't submitted this specific assignment. When I send a message from the Gradebook to multiple students, it sends an individual item to each of them. So I usually start this message with, if you're receiving this message, you haven't submitted your introductory quiz, please do so as soon as you can. Another area that I can use this course messaging, I can look at a discussion that I have set up. And I can look at my student activity and see really quickly who hasn't participated yet and send them all a message, reminding them that they haven't submitted to that discussion and should do so as soon as they can. So there's lots of opportunities that come with the course messaging function. But this is very much a messaging function and not designed to be the same as an email. So in emails, we have an inbox and an outbox, but the way Anthology has set this up, we don't have that division. And we also don't have searchability within it. So some instructors would really prefer not to have messages on in their course. And you can go and navigate and turn off course messages in your course. Now, there's a couple things you want to keep in mind if you turn off course messages. If we come back to that gradebook example and I go in and I'm looking at Lightning McQueen and I want to send him a message. So if I go to the send message area now, it'll send it as an email to Lightning McQueen's Douglas College email address. But this will be a one-way communication. So when Lightning McQueen gets that reminder, they can't reply to the message. They can't get back to me without initiating a new email. And that happens throughout the course. Everywhere that I just showed you that you can be sending messages, it becomes a one-way communication. An extension of that is from a student perspective. So now we're looking at a student course. When they look around the course, they don't see course messages in the top panel, but they will still see this email icon next to the instructor. If they click, the student clicks on that to send a message to their instructor, you will get the email, but you won't be able to reply to that email. So to get back in touch with Rosie Revere, I need to go and look up Rosie's email address and then initiate a new email to her. Now, one area in Ultra that has been around for a while, but not everybody is familiar with, is these 3 dots. I call them the magic 3 dots on the right-hand side. If I click on that, I have the ability to batch edit my content. So when I open that batch edit, I can see all of the content in the course at one time. I like using this when maybe I've copied content from another course and it's the wrong content, so I want to find everything really quickly and delete a whole bunch of items. So you can just select items on the left side and then quickly delete them. Maybe my favorite way to use this function is to edit due dates. So when I am teaching the same course the next semester, I can go into the new semester, I can copy my course into that, and then go in and just make quick edits to all my assignments. So I happen to have all my assignments and quizzes living in one module. So I'm going to open that module, I'm going to go into my intro tasks, and I'm going to select all of those tasks and edit the dates. And I can move all of these dates forward by however many days I want. Now, I don't find that particularly helpful. I can change it by semester, but there's often a lot of tweaking that we do within our courses. So the more helpful option for me is if I go in and I find a specific assignment, and then I click on the calendar at the right-hand side of that, I can just edit that one specific assignment in one place, or that due date in one place. So I'll pull up my course schedule for my new semester and then click into each of those assignments or quizzes and edit the due date really quickly. So I'm finding that this is saving me a lot of time as I move forward and set up my courses each semester. So the first big thing that I want to point out is that on September 6th, not ideal timing for us, our front page is actually going to do a little bit of a shift, and we are going to see our modules and folders and content on the left-hand side and the details and action menu on the right-hand side. And this is going to be really useful for example, when you look at it on a phone or an iPad, when we condense that information, the details and actions falls to the bottom. So it's going to free up some extra space, give a little bit less scrolling. And they've tried to really get rid of some of the extra white space or not useful space on the screen. So this is what the instructor perspective is going to look like. And this is what the student view is going to look like. So as far as navigation or what's available, it's all going to be very similar. We're going to have the little plus button to add our content on the left-hand side instead of the middle. Very subtle change. I think it's going to have a pretty good impact on people. Unfortunate timing for this because it's coming out on September 6th. So our course is going to go live to our students, and then they're going to see a slight shift in the setup for it a couple days later. So there are a number of different tools that have changed. The functionality has changed just slightly, or that I just want to re-emphasize what the difference is between tools. So I'll go to that now. So first of all, if I set up a folder structure, it looks like the top version. And if I set up a module structure, it looks like the second version here on my screen. So you can see at a glance, a big difference is that I can add an image to a module and I can't add an image to a folder. But the other thing to keep in mind is a student perspective of how they navigate through the content. So if I open up a student course now, this is the folder structure. So the Rosie Rivera can open the folder and click into content, and it opens, and then I close it. And then I open the next item, and then I close it. You can see that the progress tracking comes up, and I can check things off. You can tell your students they can check things off as they go through specific content, and then close it again. And on the front screen, they'll see that they've started content, but they haven't completed content. If they're looking at a module function, when they open that first item, they're going to be able to navigate to the next item on the top screen and navigate back again. So they can go back and forth rather than opening a new window each time. The other big difference is now when the student clicks off something as complete, it comes across on a progress tracking bar on the front page so that they can see visually that they've completed a certain amount of content, in contrast to the one above it, that's the folder, where they can just see, yes, I've started, but I don't know how much I've actually completed. So for students that like that checking things off, this can be very valuable. Now, if you've designed your course using folders and you want to move to a module structure, the easiest way is that you create a new module. In this new module now, I can add an image, and again, you can go from Unsplash or your own device to find that image. So I want to find a nice, simple image to put on the front there, and I can save that. Now I can open up that module and copy content over. So when I'm copying content, I can copy it from any of my previous courses or the current course that I'm in. So I'm going to navigate to the current course that I'm in, and I'm going to find the module that I want to bring over. So I want to bring all the information from the new tools or different functions folder. I'm going to select them all and copy them into my course. So they're going to now populate into this module. You can see they all came across as automatically hidden from students. Now this is a good use of the batch edit. So I can go into batch edit. I can navigate to the new module. I can click to select everything and make them all visible to students. So now I've moved my content from a folder setup to a module setup. Now I like to think about the folders or the modules as big containers in my course. And then within that folder or module, I'm going to add different content to it. And I can use something called a document as a small container. And I just want to demonstrate a little bit about what that looks like or how it might look different. So one option I have is to upload a file. So I can find a file on my computer and upload it directly. So if I click on the file, it's going to open full screen, and then I close it again. Instead of doing a direct upload of that file, I can place it into a document, Blackboard terminology of a document, or a small container. And when I do that, I can have the students be able to open and view and then close that item, that file. I can also add text around it. So please read this specific part. Focus on the introduction in this area. So I can guide the reading or the approach they're going to take to looking at that specific file. And then I can also make it available for download for them. So we can think about using documents or these small containers to contain a lot of information. So here's the objectives for this week. This is what I want you to do for the readings. Here's a short video. I can embed Kaltura video and stuff throughout it. Now digging in a little bit more to that document layout and what you can do with documents itself, there's been some significant changes here. So now when I go into the document area, I have an ability to set up more of a magazine layout. I can move things around. I can have text beside images, for example. So I've set up an example here with lots of images and some text, and I could move this around now. So I can decide I want that text to go on the top. I want to move this image over to the side more. I can add links in here. I have images. In this case, I embedded YouTube videos and I wanted them side by side. Maybe I want them on top of each other instead. I actually embedded HTML content here. So when they go into Mentimeter, then they can see the live results of that Mentimeter right there. So similar to other places in the course, I can find the plus button by hovering, and then I can add content or HTML or upload a file. In the add content area, that's where I'm going to find my Kaltura videos by going to Content Market. The other way I can access this is I can look at the plus button on the left side and then add a new content block, which is going to add to the bottom, and then type my text here. Once I've added the text in, that's when I can click on the little six dots here and move it wherever I want. So I can really create the setting or this display that I want. One other really key thing is that I can make as many changes as I want, and then I can use the undo or the redo until I click save. And then once I click save, my document stays as is. The other thing that I can do now is if I want to create a new document, I can actually convert a file. So I can find a Word document on my computer and then have it convert over into the document setup. It'll come across with all the content in one content area, and then you can manipulate it from there. But that's the first version of what I think will be a really powerful tool to be able to take content that we have in our computer and make it into a more interactive live document. The next relatively minor, but I think fairly impactful change is in discussions. You can now follow a discussion or unfollow a discussion. So in your alerts, in that base navigation, you can set it up to notify you when somebody has contributed to the discussion. The assignment function is another major change that's happened just recently. So they've cleaned up some of the issues that were happening within assignments. So now when I create an assignment, the options you have are a lot simpler. So it used to be that the back end looked the same as setting up a test. So you had this option to add questions or not add questions, and then add a content area. Now you just have a very simplified add your instructions here. So I can click here, I can add my text explaining what I want them to do. I can add an attachment if I have a Word document or a PDF explaining the assignment. I can add screenshots or images. I could even add a Kaltura video explaining the assignment, but it's all in one place. So this change in the way that assignments are on the back end is actually going to have the biggest impact on the students. So when the student clicks into their assignment, first of all, they're going to see view instructions. It used to say start attempt, which was really deceiving and hard for the students to know what they're supposed to do. So they'll click on the view instructions and have the simplified assignment instructions at the top, and then their submission box where they're going to upload their assignment. Now, until they actually add an assignment and submit it, so if I add an attachment here and upload it, so if after they've added their file, they save and close, that's when the instructor will see save draft. If they click submit, that's when they see an assignment submission. If they do nothing and they just close out of this window, then it won't come through as a draft for instructors. So those of you that have been on Ultra for a while will notice this difference significantly if you set up the new assignment tool. because when we go into our grading area, it won't have a ton of drafts from students, just they happen to open it and then close it again. So to get the benefits of this new assignment tool, you need to actually recreate your assignments. If I bring over an assignment from a previous semester, it's going to still have this ability to add questions in it and all the different back-end things. You're going to still have the draft issues that were happening. The assignment will still work. Students can submit it. It'll be fine. But if you want to access the better assignment tool, then you're going to recreate it, which is what I've done for my assignments this semester. Anthology is planning to do a back-end fix, but it won't happen for a couple of months. So any assignment that has been created without questions will just convert over into the new assignment function. But for this coming semester, you'll want to add new assignments to it. So if you've created your assignments prior to August 6th, I believe was the new release, you'll want to go in and recreate those assignments in the new assignment tool. So another area that they've been doing a lot of work on is the gradebook area. We see a subtle change between using little image icons to move between the gradable items view and the grades view to seeing it listed here. And a reminder, when you're in the grades view, if you see a number but don't see posted below it, it means it's not posted. So your students are not going to be able to see that item until it's posted. And the second reminder is you can go to the settings area to turn on or off automatic zeros. So make sure you're using these very intentionally in your class. So they could be on by default. And if you don't want automatic zeros to happen as soon as the due date has passed, make sure you've turned that off in your gradebook settings. So the third view that we have is the student view. That this view itself hasn't changed very much. Now looking ahead to the September release, there's going to be another tab that shows up here, which is going to be an overview tab. So this is an area that I think many instructors have been missing, is where's my needs grading page where I can just see the items that need attention right away. So there will be an overview page that shows the items that need grading. And we can see the image that comes up there of what you're going to see. And then also a needs posting. So you can quickly see which items are not posted yet in your course. So the work that's being done in the gradebook area is also going to have a big impact on the students. So the first thing we can see is that students are going to get this little number alert beside the gradebook when you have graded and posted an item. So the student can go into their gradebook now. Anything that has been recently addressed or recently graded, or there's new feedback or a change of grade that's happened, all comes to the top of their page. They can see the purple dot on the left-hand side, and then they can click to see their feedback. So this is going to continue to have some updates to how quickly and easily they can access their feedback. So there's still quite a few clicks to get there, but that's also improving in coming months. Moving to the tests and quizzes areas, there's a couple little changes here. We can now print tests and print answer keys. You can actually do this print function within the assignment setup as well. If I go into the submission area and look at my submissions, I see that my students come up on the left-hand side. I can grade by student or by question. And the big change that's happened is now I can give feedback by question. So here's my per question feedback to Ada Twist. And if I go back to the student view, if I want to give overall feedback for that entire test, then that's where I can do the overall feedback. I can also now toggle between questions if I'm in question view, or between students if I'm in student view. So next student, previous student, instead of coming to this left-hand side, which is helpful if I have that closed off. So now I can go next student, previous student. So as a reminder, a great way to message all of your students all at one time and make sure that they get that message is to send an announcement. And so I can create an announcement, and maybe I want to say meet in the gym, and this is a reminder, The change that's happened in the announcement area is now I can send the email copy to the recipients, which is good because then they get a copy to their Douglas College email, and I can schedule an announcement at the same time. So if I want this announcement to go out on Monday morning, I can select that date. So on Monday morning, they will get an email copy to the recipients and the announcement appears in their course. So once I've posted that announcement, the next time the student goes back into their course, they get a pop-up alert. And another change that's happened is they can check it off as read or not read. And you can see that there's this purple indicator of how many unread announcements they have. They can click and view all the announcements and then check them as read as they've gone through them. Thanks for watching. Find links to other resources about this topic as well as related videos in the description. You can comment on this video with any questions you have or ideas for future videos.